Oh, the title card says April 4th. Hey, folks, I'm Tom Vasel.
Jason Levine.
And for some reason, this live Q&A seemed to have been scheduled for 1 a.m. rather than 1 p.m. So I'm assuming some people are not going to be here because of that reasoning. And for that, I apologize. All right, but also Jason's here. And for that, I also apologize.
Yep.
He showed up. We were recording some stuff for reviews and things. So anyhow, we're going to be taking some questions and answers, and we're going to take questions and answers for the first half of the show from Q&A. And yes, I know that, again, I know the times were incorrect, but we're on now. But in the description of the video, there's a link to a website, Q&A, KIUNEI.com. And if you click there, you can find the questions. Can you check, make sure my microphone is on? Someone says my audio is weak.
You just need to speak with your abdomen.
I don't think my audio. Tom's mic may be off, someone is saying.
I don't think so.
Are they on the two different things? One's on two, one's on one?
Correct.
All right, well, we'll do a quick test. Here, Jason.
Test your mic, 1, 2.
Turn your mic off.
Turn my mic
Let's
off.
see if people can hear me with your mic off. All right, Jason's mic is off. Can you see it okay?
Mic is off.
All right, we'll turn yours back on.
Turning it back on. Okay, my mic is back on. Can everyone hear me again?
Maybe the HDMI cable doesn't move both of them?
Well, while we're kind of figuring out the audio, my shirt is, as you can see when I pull it up a little, Imperial Settlers. I think Portal Games sells the shirts at conventions, so if you want to get one of those shirts, Imperial Settlers, go to the Portal booth and you should be able to get one at any of their things. It's a great shirt. I mean, come on, it's a Stormtrooper meeple essentially. Great shirt. Great game also if you like Imperial Settlers. Which
Says it sounds better. Maybe my gain.
I don't see on our list.
My gain could be a little. Oh, you turned my gain up a little bit.
Just a little bit.
All right. Well, it is what it is. We'll figure it out. Okay. Well, people are going to come back and watch us. I spent the first 5 minutes talking about audio. All right. Well, we'll
get
get
Imperial Settlers shirt.
We'll get to. Well, that's true. You keep people occupied.
Yeah, and I've been reading the Dice Tower nominations list. We have the actual Dice Tower nominations here, so I've been reading it, catching up since it got released this weekend.
Well, that's good because you're in charge of the final voting, so you need to know
I need
what's
to know what all the
going on.
nominees are. Yes.
All right, question 1. What would you do if you woke up and all your board games were gone?
Have a heart attack?
I guess the question is kind of confusing. I mean, if I woke up and my board games were gone, my first thought would be, why are they gone? So, like, is there, like, a thief in the house, or was there a fire? What does that mean?
Yeah.
But if you mean, if the reason was legitimate, maybe they all were stolen, okay? So we've taken care of that part where I'm not, oh, no, my games are gone.
Have a heart attack still.
No, then I would be okay. I'd be like, all right, well, the games are gone, nothing we can do about that. We'll get some games back. And I'd eventually get my favorites. I'd probably buy Cosmic Encounter and a couple others, and as time went by, fill my collection up again.
Could you imagine if, like, someone broke into my garage and took all the games, or if, like, there was a fire in there? I don't know how I'd react.
I can imagine it is a sweet, sweet dream.
No, that would be so bad. I have so much in there. I don't know what I would do. I would be in shock. The very first thing is I'd be in shock. Like, I can't believe all my games are gone. And then I wouldn't know how to feel. That would be really awkward and weird. But then I try to get them all again. Obviously, some of the out-of-print ones I don't know if I'd be able to get again, but I'd try my best to try to redo my collection.
All right, well.
I should probably get insurance on it now that I think about it. Now that we're talking about, like, theft and fire, I should probably get insurance because it's probably worth a lot, that collection.
At the end of this video, Jason's address will pop up several times, as well as directions to his house, codes to his gates. We're here to help.
And I don't have 2 gates like Tom does.
All right, so what is the nomination process for the Dice Tower Awards? So what happens is, at the end of December, beginning of January, we just say, hey, nominate a game for category. Best expansion. Anything you want. So everyone just says everything. And we argue and fuss about it. And sometimes we'll say, no, that game didn't come out that year, or what have you. Well, sometimes Board Game Geek's dates are often wrong. Because a game was in print and play early, or the company originally intended it to come out in a year and it came out later. So if you checked all the dates on all these games, some of them say a different year, but we picked the year, in our opinion, when it actually came out. So we have all these nominations, and eventually we spend about 3 weeks voting, and you can go through and just vote for the nominations for each one. And the 5 that get the most votes, except for in Game of the Year, which has 10, the 10 that get the most votes. Now on the press release, I put them in alphabetical order, so there's not oh, this is 5th place. No, if you look, they're in alphabetical order.
Yes.
When comes time to vote, people can vote for only 3 games, and the order they vote for them in is important. You can vote for fewer than 3 if you want to, and then each one is assigned a certain number of points based on whether it's first, second, or third, and then we add those points together, and the one that gets the most points is the winner of each of those categories. We'll be announcing those
at Dice Tower Con.
At Dice Tower Con. So I think there might be something wrong with our comment section on YouTube, just because I'm not seeing a lot of the comments there. But anyhow, like I said, we're answering the questions at Q&A, so you can ask or vote up or down questions there. The best game reprint for 2015 is a pretty stacked list. Do you expect this trend to continue for the next few years, or was this a crazy anomaly?
No.
What was the best reprint?
The best reprints, let's see, we have El Grande Big Box, Fury of Dracula, the 3rd edition, Mission Red Planet, Stronghold 2nd edition, and Through the Ages, New Story of Civilization. I personally think that reprints are always going to be good from now on, because if you follow Vasel's law, which says any good game should get reprinted, we're going to see lots of these old out-of-print games that are good be reprinted. So there's always going to be good games on this list.
Right, and let me I'm going to quick zoom down and look at the
other ones that didn't make it.
The other ones that didn't make it here real quickly. So those were the top 5. Then behind that was the Game of Thrones LCG, Celestia, Samurai, Runebound, Queen's Necklace, Thief, Neuroshima Convoy, and Stellar Conflict, which, by the way, I would have voted for, but I don't think enough people have played that yet.
I loved Stellar Conflict.
Yeah, I do too. But anyhow, I don't think that this was like a banner year. This is what's going to happen. Every year, this is going to be the same, because every year there will be more games that are in the past that will come back, okay? Every year, games get a little bit older, so there'll be more games that you'll see reprints coming from. I don't think we've seen a major reprint coming or announced this year yet, but they probably will be. Oh, no, well, there is. Fantasy Flight, or no, what's their name
Amun Ray
now?
is being reprinted this year.
Yeah, Amun Ray is being reprinted this year. Coliseum's being reprinted this year. Not Fantasy Flight. What's that new company that they started? Wind Rider, or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
The new Fantasy Flight Euro game company. They are reprinting Ra.
Yes, Ra's being reprinted.
You know, so far I've noticed all the games are Reiner Knizia games, which is interesting.
No, Kramer did Coliseum, but still.
No, Coliseum's from Tasty Minstrel. I'm saying the ones in that Fantasy Flight line have been so far. It's been Tigers and Euphrates, Samurai, and now Ra. Yeah. I guess they just got Reiner Knizia's whole backlog of games.
Yes.
So, all right. At the F2Z meeting this weekend, did you learn anything about the new space-themed Crossroads game from Plaid Hat? I didn't even ask about it. I was just looking at the games there. I looked at the new Plaid Hat, the new Dead of Winter.
Tell us about Pandemic Cthulhu, since you played it, and I'm jealous that you played it.
Pandemic Cthulhu is interesting. It's like Pandemic, but instead of there being 4 different diseases, there's just one. There's just cultists that are growing. So they keep them from growing, and they'll pop around. But instead of when they pop, instead of they're growing more, you flip over a card at the top, and that card does negative things, everybody. And if you flip over the last card, it's Cthulhu, and you lose. And then there's also big Shoggoths that show up, and they take 3 actions to get rid of one of them. And if there's too many of them on the board, you lose also. And they also walk towards gates, and if they go through a gate, they flip over a card. The rules are the same. Some of them are different. Like, I was like, we gotta play with the medic. We're like, all right, so that person's the hunter. And so they get to kill a whole bunch of cultists at one time, the hunter. And
that's cool.
So some of the rules are the same, some were different. It's a really tight board. I'm like, I need to get over here. It's really hard. You can go through gates, and you have a chance to go insane in this game. Your characters can go insane, which is not that good because it drops your actions from 4 actions to 3. But there's a way to become
sane again,
but it's basically shutting down one of the gates, which is the same as curing a disease in Pandemic.
Yeah.
It's different than Pandemic, but it's also very similar. And I'm looking at it as a variant of Pandemic. I liked it. I'm curious to see what other people will think of it. Again, don't forget all the questions are being asked through Q&A, not in the comment section right now. What do you want to see next in Battle Lore? Elves or dwarves? Either one of those would be fine. We now have 2 bad factions. The Undead is the newest faction, and there was that other nasty red faction, and then there's the good guys. So yeah, elves and dwarves would make sense to come next. Something good.
I want to see everything that originally came out when it was Days of Wonder come out again. So I'd like to see everything come out.
No, but they changed it. It's a different universe now. Battle Lore is now in the Terranoth universe, which is the Descent universe. So they have elves, and I wouldn't mind even seeing like good orcs or something like that, or maybe neutral, like an orc faction. I wouldn't mind, honestly, if they brought in stuff that wasn't elves and dwarves and orcs and goblins, something that was new and unique. There's a lot of really weird factions and monsters in Descent now. What game have you sunk the most time into playing? Well, if you watch my most played list, one of my top games was Axis and Allies, and since I was doing it by number of times played, considering how long Axis and Allies is, I'll say Axis and Allies.
Number of times played or hours played? If it's hours played, I'm going to say 18x for sure. If it's number of times played, Dominion. But Dominion is very quick. But no, 18x is probably the game I've spent the most time with over the years.
What's a good gateway for players who usually only play party games?
Codenames. Codenames is the gateway game for party.
I don't know. I would find people like that can get interested in Cashing Guns and King of Tokyo and Bang the Dice game, things like that. What are your thoughts on the lineup of games for Season 4 Tabletop? Are there things you think will work well or might not work well? Here, I'll pull it up here. You don't have to worry about it.
I was going to pull it up here.
Tabletop Season 4
just go to Will Wheaton blog is where he has
games list.
WillWheaton.net has it. Yeah, look, WillWheaton.net. Go down. It's like he's been posting every day about each game, so it's like a few down from there. So just
all right.
Scroll down like a few and you'll find it.
Okay.
Day 4, day 3,
day
2, day 1,
1.
and here's the list. On page 2, here's the list. There it is.
All right, so we'll go through them. Lanterns, probably fine, although I don't know that tile placement is that interesting to watch. Fury of Dracula, that's interesting because that's way heavier than any game he said he would play.
I know, but I have a feeling that he had to have been Dracula and make the other players be Van Helsing and Harker and everything. I can't imagine him not being Dracula if they played that.
Yeah, I think that one's being split over too. Mysterium, yes, I think that's a great one to watch. Codename, same thing. Good watch. Fate Core RPG, I don't know anything about it. Dragon Farkle, I have to say I'm really surprised at that one. It's a silly little fun light game.
It's a light little dice game.
It just doesn't seem like one, again, that I guess you're just watching people roll dice.
Flashpoint, I'm very happy with. I like Flashpoint.
Fire Rescue, yes. Harbor, I got to be honest, I'm really surprised at that one.
Yeah, that's like a tiny little micro game. I was surprised too.
I don't even like it at all. At all. But I don't even imagine, even if I did like it, I wouldn't pick it. It's like a little tiny Euro game. Most of those games don't work well on camera. Eldritch Horror, that one should probably work well, although a lot of rules in that one again. Star Realms?
That's a two-player game. I don't understand how
you can play Star Realms multiplayer. I have.
Yeah, but it's really a two-player game.
I just don't see, again, how it's that interesting. It's like, and now I play these, and now I play these.
It would be like watching someone play Magic.
Monarch, this is unusual in that it's a game I don't believe I've played yet.
No, Monarch, there was that company. We saw this game. They were showing
I actually have it down on my pile.
The guys
of
showed
games
it to us at Gen Con this year, and it looked like a chess kind of style game.
Maybe it's a good game. I just haven't played it yet. Star Trek 5-Year Mission. Well, they're playing that because
he's got I wonder if they're using his character. He had
Shut
to
Up
have used
Wesley?
the Shut Up Wesley character. There was a promo that said Shut Up Wesley.
that will be a fun one to watch regardless, but the game itself is not good.
No, it's a dice
Champions in
co-op.
Midgard, interesting. Although I'm surprised they picked that one over Deception Murder in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Steam Park, a fun game.
Yes.
Tiny Epic Galaxy's fun. Both Steam Park and Tiny Epic Galaxy are games I consider fun. I don't know how interesting either one of them would be to watch. Welcome to the Dungeon, that's a very good choice. Fun to watch.
Welcome to the Dungeon's great. I don't know how they're going to put that in an hour episode, though. The game doesn't take that long, but...
I don't think it's an hour episode. It'd be 30
maybe
minutes,
they're going to do shorter episodes this year for some of them.
Who knows? Can you elaborate on who votes for the Dice Tower Awards? Or is it supposed to be secret so their votes can't be swayed? Joetti, Rado, etc. It's not that it's a secret. It's just that I guess I could publish the names of everybody who's doing it, but I'm just kind of cautious about that. But almost every major video reviewer is involved. For example, Dan King, Joetti, John Richard. Rado is not involved, although he was involved one year, but by choice he just isn't interested in being involved at this point in time. But he was certainly welcome. He's certainly welcome to be. And a lot of bloggers, a lot of people who write reviews on blogs, a lot of podcasters. Like if they're in the Dice Tower Network and have a podcast, they're probably part of the committee. If they're not in the Dice Tower Network and have a podcast, they're probably also on the committee.
Yeah, it's pretty much everyone you've ever heard of.
I don't know how to, people are like, oh, it's groupthink, but I don't know how to explain how much it's not groupthink. I just send out the surveys and I look at them and go, oh, okay. I mean, people are like, oh, why is Pandemic Legacy? It's so popular and you guys are picking a popular game. But again, it's popular for a reason. Board gaming is not like movies.
Yeah.
In the sense that, oh, the super popular ones are really not that good of movies. No, that's not the case with board games. It is, but you have to take a broader picture. The super popular games for board games are Monopoly and Harry Potter the board game or whatever that new thing is, okay?
Yeah.
Those are the super popular.
Twister.
Those are the very hot, common games. The games that we like, oh, everyone loves Pandemic Legacy. Pandemic Legacy did not sell as much as Monopoly did last year. And so why we look at it's popular, that's because if you're watching this, you know about board games
Pandemic
and you're
Legacy
involved.
probably didn't even sell as much as Catan last year. Catan still sells more than every other game out there.
Right. So, yes, we're picking games that you've been hearing about a lot, but again, you're hearing about them from the people who are voting on them, and we're saying they're good for a reason. And I spit on the idea that just because you pick something that other people like, that somehow makes it not as good of a choice. Bah! That's idiotic.
No,
We don't have to pick games that are like super obscure to justify us. If we did that, then we would be called the Oscars. And every Oscar voter I've ever met is a moron.
No, if it was the Oscars...
Just kidding.
If
The only Oscar voter I know is this guy.
If it was like the Oscars, then Chain Magnate would be up for everything this year. But it's not. Because I feel like I'm the indie awards. Like those who like heavy Euros like me, we're like the indie faction of board gaming because most people don't play them or see them. So, it might be a great game, but if it doesn't get out to the mass public, no one's going to know about it.
Yeah.
Which is why I still trumpet those games like Chain Magnate and stuff because it is a great game. But yeah, in terms of the best games of the year, I mean, more people have played Pandemic, more people have played Codenames. Games, these games are all great games. So there's nothing against any game that's on this Game of the Year list at all.
How would you define the word geek? Oh, that's a boring question. Is it fair to associate the word geek? I'm not going to. I apologize.
I think geek is considered cool now. In the day it wasn't,
whatever.
but now it's considered cool.
Yeah, it is. Is geek associated with board gaming? I guess.
Not
but
really.
You know what? I think guys who do fantasy football are geeks.
Yeah.
Everyone's. I think if you're like really passionate about a specific subject, you're a geek about that subject.
If you work at Best Buy, you're a geek. In fact, they have a whole squad of them at Best Buy. I mean,
you can be a sports geek. You can be anything of a geek.
It's not the 80s anymore where like Revenge of the nerds were considered bad.
I think nerd is different than geek, though.
No, but it's all the same. All those words were derogatory in the 80s. I mean, the song, the Devo song is like, call us a nerd, a dork, or a geek. Isn't that cool? Don't be chic, or whatever it was. But that was back in the 80s. Nowadays, as the Big Bang Theory says, smart is the new sexy. And yeah, it's cool to be smart and knowledgeable in things.
Again, though, I don't think smart means nerd. Nerd is
it's the same. It's all the same.
Does Dice Tower have a 5-year plan? No.
Yes.
I have
to get better and better and cooler and do more things.
Well, yeah, but I honestly make a 1-year plan at a time. This is what I want to do this year. And even then it will change. And you'll see new things that we try. Sometimes they don't work out. Right now, this is my month plan. Get this audio fixed. Okay? I know that it's been tricky and problematic and not perfect and all sorts of things, but we're working on it. It will get there. How long do you keep reviews before uploading them on YouTube? It all depends. Sometimes I review them and they're up that day. Sometimes we sit on them for a week. It just depends.
Yep.
Do you have a theory as to why Chain Magnate got nominated for the Dice Tower Award for Best Theming? Did you vote for it in that category?
I don't remember. I just know that he was teasing me a few minutes ago when I looked at the list
I wasn't.
About how Chain Magnate was not nominated for Game of the Year or Strategy Game of the Year, but was nominated for theming.
Okay, well, I'll tell you. I'll tell you. Here I go on rant number 2. All right, first of all, I think it got nominated for theming because I think that our goal for our theming award is a game that implements its theme really well and or a game that brings a unique, interesting theme. And the fast food franchise type theme is not really in many games. So it's a breath of fresh air to see that as opposed to trading silk and gold in the Mediterranean. It was nominated for the strategy game category and for Game of the Year and just missed out on both of them, all right? Just didn't get enough votes, and that is likely because not everyone has had a chance to play it.
True.
Right? And that's life, and I'm not, again, going to... I don't think that games like that missing out on these awards, that's the way it is. We try to get every game played over the course of the year at Dice Tower. Me and Jason play more games than probably almost anyone else on Earth, and we still don't play everything.
Yeah.
It is literally impossible. And then everyone else on the committee, they play a lot of games too, but if they're not playing as many games as we are, not everyone can play everything.
Yes.
And so games that don't get out there, that don't have big giant print runs, they just don't get as much notice, and that's just how life is. And we can go hunt them down and go look them up based on word of mouth from other people. But again, a game can have a niche of people who really, really like that game. But it may not be the best in that category. They may think it's the best in that category, but it may not be.
See, here's the interesting thing on a game like Chain Magnate. The reason we got a copy or have a copy is because we got it at Essen. People who weren't at Essen, it still is, it's in its 5th print run, and Passport Games is trying to get them over as quick as possible, but Splotter isn't used to printing as many games as they've had to print for this. They said it's their biggest print run they've ever done for any game.
But again, just because it's the biggest print run they've done for any game, it's still a pretty small print run.
It's still small.
People forget sometimes how few of these, let's say the heavier Euro games sell. Ticket to Ride has sold 3 million copies.
Yes.
The Resistance maybe has sold 500,000 copies. I don't know, something like that. A game like Puerto Rico has probably sold 50,000 copies.
And that's considered one of the top games.
A game like Kalis has probably sold 20,000 copies.
Codenames has sold over 300,000 in 8 months.
But that's a party game.
Yeah.
Okay? These heavier Euro games, like Age of Steam, I believe has sold less than 15,000 copies. And that's like a game everyone's like, about.
Age of Steam, exactly.
But it just hasn't sold that well. Now, I'm not saying just because a game doesn't sell that well doesn't mean it's not good, but it does show that it's not wanted by that many people either.
No, because a lot of gamers out there don't like heavy games or can't get their family to play heavy games, and family games sell more than heavy games, and that's just the way it is. But I'm telling you, Chain Magnate's the kind of game that even though it wasn't nominated this year for Game of the Year or for Strategy Game of the Year, it's a game that people will be talking about 2-3 years from now.
Right,
it's going to last.
And it's still being talked about, right? Just because it wasn't nominated for award doesn't invalidate it as a game, Jason said it was your game of the year last year, right?
Yes, it was
your
my number one
game,
last year.
And it's still a game that he's talking about, and you will see more about it over in the coming years.
I could tell you at the gathering, at the prize table, those Splatter games, there was a copy of Indonesia, there was a copy of Antiquity, the first edition with the blue box, there was a copy of Food Chain Magnate on the prize table. Those were like some of the first things that got taken.
Well,
literally.
That's true, but again, that's the specific audience for that game.
Yes.
All right, should I try Time Stories with only 2 people? You can. I liked it with 3 or 4, but 2, I haven't played it with 2, but it seems like you could. How many games in your collection have sold over 1 million copies?
Probably about 5, because I think that's all the games that have sold over 1 million.
Yeah, there isn't really many. Okay, let's see. I know Carcassonne
I have Monopoly in my collection. I'm not embarrassed to say it.
I know Catan. I don't have Catan in my collection anymore, though.
I have Catan.
Okay, so that's 2.
Monopoly.
Ticket to Ride has. Do you have LCR?
No, I don't.
Do you have Munchkin?
No.
That sold 1 million, I think.
Well, what has sold 1 million? Ticket to Ride, Carcassonne, Settlers. Pandemic sold 1 million.
I'm betting it's close.
No, it's over 1 million now.
Um,
Pandemic, I think that's it. Unless you're talking about older games, like I have Scrabble and I have Monopoly, but those games have sold over 1 million. But in terms of like
million is a big number.
Yes, in terms
really
of niche games like this, not many have sold 1 million. So I think we have mostly all of them.
All right, let's see here. Let's refresh these questions. Jason, when are you going to get on the ball and get your games organized and get the proper lighting to finally show off your collection? They're putting it on you now.
Oh, it's not the proper lighting. It takes Tom a while to drive up an hour.
No, I did come up.
House.
Remember, it was the lighting is not very good in that garage. I don't know how we'd video. We'd have to bring in some of these portable lights.
I don't know. We'll figure out sometime. I mean, the next time Tom's probably gonna be at my house is when we pick up all the games for the Dice Tower
convention
where we do the
also
the flea market.
His garage is filled with those boxes anyway.
Yes.
Right now, my games are in his house.
Yes, there's about 20-something boxes of games that we're going to be doing at the Dice Tower convention flea market that are in the thing. So now wouldn't be a good time, but sometime after that, when that area is cleared up, where there's room to move around, we'll get to it at some point. Tom put pictures up. I think there was a thread on Board Game Geek recently on our forum about someone had the pictures that Tom took last year, but that's only, obviously it'll look different on video, but
Oh yeah, Magic the Gathering has sold over. I have that. So it says Dixit has sold over 1 million. I have not.
Has it?
I guess I would want to know the numbers on that. Maybe it has sold over 1 million, but I had not heard that. But maybe it has. I could be wrong, but I hadn't heard it.
Now, officially, did Dice Master sell 1 million if you count each individual pack as a thing?
Okay. Any other Canadian trips planned for us this year? No. The rest of our trips are either in America. We got 1 in England and 1 in Germany. What are your plans for wife for Mother's Day this Sunday? Take her out to eat.
Call her on the phone and say hi.
Any hopes of seeing a top 10 games that don't have an expansion? Probably not. That's really low. Honestly, though, we're putting up top 10 voting on Board Game Guild, and so you can just go vote for the top 10s you want to see there. So we already have like the next 4 or 5 ready, set in stone what they're going to be. Top 10 games that don't need an expansion. If a game doesn't have one, I usually don't sit around thinking, I wish it did.
Exactly.
Off the top of my head, I can't think of any game where I'm like, I wish it had an expansion, except for Magic the Gathering board game.
It does have 2 expansions.
Has 1.
The second one we saw.
Yeah, it's not out forever and ever.
Yeah.
And maybe Forbidden Stars, I wouldn't mind seeing an expansion for that. But for the most part, most of the games I'm pretty content with. What's the best board game role-playing game? Would it be the same game for someone new to role-playing? Role-playing and board gaming are different. They have some similarities between them, but for example, Descent, a dungeon crawl, I like it a lot, but it is not necessarily a role-playing game.
Yeah, you need one that has like stats that you stat up after each round, and that new one that was a Kickstarter last year. That we saw it at Essen also. What's the name? I can't remember the name of it. A bunch of companies were looking at it. Seventh Continent. I think it's called Seventh Continent.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm going to have to wait and see that one.
Looks like it's going to be a role-playing board game.
Have you ever participated in a math trade? And if so, what was your experience with it?
No.
Yes. And the math trade is fine. 18XX has sold over 1 million if you combine them.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't think 18X has sold over 1 million, even if you combine them.
Maybe he's combining the number 18XX. No, it's not sold 1 million.
Well, the 18XX from Avalon Hill sold a lot. Sold probably 300,000 or more, because that was when Avalon Hill was printing ridiculous amounts of their games.
Okay, yes, but I'll tell you, at this point in time, when they make a new 18XX game, if it sells 1,000, that's a big deal.
Yeah, the GMT one is going to be a print run of, I think, 5,000 for 1846.
Okay, but anyhow, I did a math trade a couple times. They're fun. They're a little confusing to figure out how they work. For me, the math trade is just stressful because I go to a convention. I don't like doing them.
You have to find someone.
Right, I don't like doing them packaging wise because I hate shipping stuff off. It's just a huge pain, and shipping is so expensive. So I do at a math at convention, like, okay, I need to meet Bob and trade him this game, and then Susan's giving me this game here, and I need to be, and it's that's just a pain. Also, I don't need more games.
Yeah.
Why is there no best children's game category in the Dice Tower Awards? Part of that is
family's close.
Well, I'll tell you why though. It's because of all the people I get to vote in the Dice Tower Award, maybe 5 of them play games with their kids. It's not very many. I tried to get this together, but there's just not enough people voting. There's some categories you don't see in the awards because we don't have the experience. I could pick my best children's games of the year, but for the most part, there's not a people who do that.
I play with my niece and nephew. I mean, but, for each year, it's tough.
Amazon asked me today if I wanted to set a charity to donate to while shopping. I was able to locate the Jack Vasel Memorial Fund Limited. I would love to help in this fashion, but do you know if those funds go directly to the Jack Vasel Memorial Fund? They do. We did set that up. Someone asked us to do it several months ago, and so it's set up. So those funds do go to the Jack Vasel Fund.
The next one you answered.
I did. Jason, what's your favorite book series of all time?
Well, I mean, I love Star Wars books, but it's not really a series. I mean,
really, you've read Star Wars books?
Yeah, I read the General Thrawn, the Heir to the Empire,
Thrawn
and blah blah blah
trilogy.
blah blah. But
from Timothy Zahn, those are great books.
I know, but I mean, if we're talking like more modern style books, I guess the thing that I really liked, even though I know it's young adult, I really liked the Lightning Thief, whatever it was called, the one where it was like Greek mythology but with the kids. I can't remember the name of it. The Lightning Thief and the Sea of the Monsters. What was the name of that series? The Percy Jackson. I really liked those because I always liked Greek mythology. And I like the way they turned it into like these kids are like the sons of Zeus and sons of Poseidon. So I like that one. I liked Harry Potter. I mean, everyone likes Harry Potter. You can't not like Harry Potter.
Some people do not like Harry Potter. It's
okay.
Very possible.
If you're watching this, you can't not like Harry Potter.
All right, last question from here. Jason, do you not have to work today? How do you have so much time off? Everyone's jealous.
I actually am working tonight. If you watch Univision tonight, let me plug my channel. We're doing Arena League football, the Los Angeles Kiss against someone. And I only know it's Los Angeles Kiss because the game's out of LA, and I was like, wow, Kiss owns a Arena Football League team. So the game actually airs at 8 tonight, so I don't have to be at work until 3, and I'm working 3 to 11 and doing the game tonight. So I do work. Would you ever thought that Kiss owned an Arena League team? Isn't that the funniest thing you ever heard? The LA Kiss, and the logo is like the Kiss logo with flames in it. I kid you not. So yeah, I'll be working after this.
Okay, we are now going to take questions from YouTube starting now. Any questions that come after that? Again, I may not answer all the questions. In fact, probably won't answer all the questions, but if you have any questions, we may take them from there. The Q&A part is now finished. So if you have any questions, you can ask them starting on the YouTube channel, and we'll get to those. But yeah, Jason just works late on Mondays anyhow, right?
No, it depends. I mean, because I work sports, sometimes we have late hours, sometimes we have early hours. It's very dependent on sporting events. Like next month, I guess it is next month now that it is May. We have the Copa America Centenario, and I'm going to be working like 15 hours a day every day, which is the reason I'm not going to Origins. I know Tom has mentioned that I'm not going.
Did I?
Well, you might have. If you didn't, it's because we're working the Copa America Centenario, and I'm going to be, there's games like every day, and there's some days there's 2 games, and we're going to be working a lot, and I'll be like we're going to record a lot of stuff before June. That way we make sure we have stuff recorded for the month of June, because I don't know how much time I'll have to see Tom to even play games. I might not even make our game sessions. I'm going to be like in gaming withdrawal, and when Dice Tower comes, like the week after this is Dice Tower Con, I'm going to want to just play games with everyone. So if you're going to Dice Tower Con and you see me and you want to play a game, I'll play it, because I'll be so in game withdrawal at that point that I'll want to play games.
All right. Jason, what do you do for a living?
Well, like I just said, I work in TV. I work for Univision, the Spanish network.
Yeah, but what do you do?
I do 3D graphic design for them. So if you watch like soccer games, the little score bug in the corner, or like when it goes zoop and the player stats animate in and you see the player stats, or when you see big animations at the beginning with like the giant things that fly by in the football field, and then zoop, something flies by, and then all of that. I do, animation, 3D graphics, design, programming, touchscreens. Like I used to do stuff like what you see John King on CNN do. I still do it for Univision, but
how did you win an Emmy?
I won 3. I won for old station I used to work for. I got one when I was at ESPN, got one at ABC. We actually got an Emmy at Univision, but I wasn't on the list. It was for our coverage of the World Cup last year, or I guess a year and a half ago. When we did the World Cup, we got an Emmy for our coverage of our studio show for the World Cup, which I obviously did all the graphics. I did all the monitor graphics, like on the set and everything. So it was nice to be part of the team for that. And, if you're part of the team for big events, usually the big events are the things that win. And I've done enough big events in my life that, that's kind of how it happens. It's not quite the same as the actors ones. I mean, for these big events, a lot of people win. I've never won one on my own. I won one with 2 other people, so it was 3 of us on our own. But I've never won one just as myself, because it's always a team that works on these things.
What's your favorite start in Food Chain Magnate?
My favorite start. Well, I like the human resource girl, and I like the trainer. So I like the recruiter and the trainer, and I also like the marketer. All 3 of them I think are good, and Errand Boy is my 4th favorite. So first would be recruiter, then trainer, then marketer, then Errand Boy would be in that order, what I think are the best starts.
Jason, at the World Board Gaming Championships, how can we get more new games into the convention when the large proportion of the attendees prefer older games?
And that's a problem with WBC. It's something that,
Well, is it a? I'm just taking this.
I think
is it a problem if they want to play the older games? I mean, why do they need to play newer ones?
Well, here's the problem that I see, and the way I look at it is, do we really need a tournament for some war game from the 1970s that 16 people are playing it, when we could have a tournament for a game that came out now? Like Splendor got put in last year, and Splendor, the tournament had over 200 people. But then there's these war games that no one's playing anymore, but they're like, oh, but we don't want to isolate those people. But at some point you have to isolate those people, because it's never going to grow. I know they say they don't want to grow, which I don't quite understand, but they would rather have a tournament for, Panzer Blitz with 16 people than to have a tournament for Elysium where they'd get 150 people. And to me, that's one of the things I don't like. I mean, I can understand why, because a lot of wargamers were involved when it first started, but I think we've passed them by, and I think that there's going to be new management next year, and maybe the new management's going to change the way they do it. I'm not sure. I don't want to speak for them, but I think that they need to get with the times, or else the convention's going to fade away.
All right. What games do I still have to play from the Dice Tower Awards? So I have not played the Grizzled yet. I've not played.
Really?
Yeah, well, I mean, Z and Sam covered that one, so I just didn't get around to it. I will play it before time for voting, because I haven't played Lanterns yet. Same reason. Z
Really?
covered that one, and I haven't played Raptor because they covered that one.
You haven't played Raptor either. Raptor's great.
No, I'm sure they're all fine games, and I will play those before the voting comes. And then I will, I need to play a Food Chain Magnate, of course, before time for voting.
He won't play it with me, though. He's already said he's not going to play it with me because I've played it too many times.
You played it too many times.
Well, now he knows to take the recruiter first, because that's what my favorite strategy is. I won't take the recruiter
What about
if I
you?
play with
Have
him.
you played all these games? I don't think you have. Have you played Between Two Cities yet?
Yes, I have.
Alright.
Yes.
You haven't played Time Stories yet.
Yes, I have now.
Oh, you have?
Yes, I have.
Who'd you
now.
play with?
With people in my group outside of you. Uh,
All right, let's
I
see.
didn't see the second category. Game of the year. I think I've played them all for sure. Yeah, I've played all the Game of the Years.
Well, I have too. So. Let's see.
Yeah, I've played all of those expansions. I've played all those party games. I've played all of those. Family games.
Have you played Lanterns yet?
Yes. And Flick 'em Up. Even though I thought Flick 'em Up was 2 years ago, I guess it wasn't.
No, it definitely was last year.
Yeah, I've played all those. I've played all those. Okay, officially I haven't played Fear of Dracula 3rd edition. I've only played 2nd and 1st edition, but
All right. You haven't played the Stronghold 2nd edition either.
I haven't played Stronghold 2nd edition. I almost did it at the Gathering, but I didn't because I didn't have time.
All
But
right.
I've played most of them. I'd say 99% of them I've played.
Since you don't get to vote except in ties, that's me, are there any games you felt were snubbed by the Dice Tower Awards? Oh, snubbed is a hard word.
Chain Magnate.
There were games that I was like, I thought that if more people had played them, they would have gotten more love. But I guess I don't get too upset about that sort of thing.
Food Chain Magnate.
Okay,
I'll keep pumping it.
Let it go.
It's such a good game. I'll keep pumping it.
And there we shot all the way to the bottom again. All right. Jason, do you like war games? Yes, we already know that. Do you have a favorite
Yes.
war game?
My favorite war game. Hannibal is probably my favorite war game. Diplomacy, I don't know if that's considered a war game or not, but if it is, it's Diplomacy. If not, Hannibal. Twilight Struggle, even though it's not really it's a Euro-y war game.
No, I'm not going to argue that, but I don't think Diplomacy is a war game either.
No, that's why I'm saying Hannibal. Hannibal's my favorite war game. If you consider the point-to-point games war games, do you?
Do I consider Hannibal a war game?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, then Hannibal.
But
Then
I also
Hannibal.
consider Memoir 44 a war game. It's a
Okay,
game.
see,
It's about war. I don't understand how people have this difficult discussion. How is that not a war game? That has never made sense to me. Risk is a war game. It's a game about war.
Yes, but to me, war game also has to have historical.
Fine, then Memoir 44. It's a historical war game
Yes,
about war.
But Memoir 44, you literally take the same board and you put a few obstacles on it, and it's a light game. It's not really a war game.
That's the elitism showing again.
Okay,
Light
maybe
does
it
not
is.
mean war game does not mean heavy. Okay, anyway. Oh,
Maybe.
by the way, someone's asking why we don't have a war game category. Right there.
Because he put Memoir 44 in it, and I'd say
No, but I mean, a lot of people did, and so the only people who are the war game category is fraught with prompts, because the only people who are satisfied by the war game category are the people who play these heavy war games, and yet these guys don't play anything else really, so they're not much use to me voting on the awards, because they only vote for the one category, and then they complain about that category even when they vote for it.
Yeah.
They got the Charles S. Roberts Award. Just go watch that.
Well, this year I thought a really good war game was Churchill. Have you played that yet?
I've not. I probably
it's
won't. But
really good. It's a 3-player, and games that play well in 3, Churchill.
Jason, what classic CCG do you enjoy playing?
Magic was the one that I played back in the day. I didn't play many others. I played the WCW wrestling game, which was really good.
Mike Fitzgerald did that one.
Yes, and the cool thing about it was it had this mechanic where your deck, when you played cards and got hit, you would have to flip cards out of your deck, so you didn't get every card that you put in your deck. And Harry Potter, the Harry Potter CCG actually had that same mechanic, which they took from his WCW. And I like the Harry Potter one because I'd love to be like, Wingardium Leviosa, boom! And just saying the names of the spells was cool. Did you play the Harry Potter one?
Weren't we already having that nerd geek discussion?
Yes, Wingardium Leviosa, boom. And I can make his character float.
No, I did not play the Harry Potter one.
It was really good.
I could only afford one CCG, and I was playing
Magic?
Battletech at the time.
Oh, and the Star Wars by Decipher was really good.
Yeah, which also had the same thing where your deck was your life when you ran out. All right. Let's see. What places do you recommend for buying custom designed miniatures? I don't even know what that means. Where would you buy custom designed miniatures from?
You buy all those things. You like to.
No, I buy this sort of stuff.
You like you buy mini. Don't you buy all sorts of weird things to like bling out your games?
I do, but I don't look for custom minis. If I happen to come across them, it is what it is. But I don't look for custom ones. All right. What are your feelings about the new WBC convention location?
That's a very interesting topic because it got a lot of discussion when it came out. In one way, I think it's going to hurt the attendance because the main core of gamers was from that Baltimore, DC, and even like New York, New England area. And now you put it 3 hours further away, or, even though it's not really 3 hours, it's like, 2 hours further away, closer to Pittsburgh. And I think a lot of the main core isn't going to show up because they don't want to drive. And I know there was some main core when it used to be in Baltimore who didn't like Lancaster. And so you're going to lose that, but you might get more people from the Columbus area.
I heard it's a really nice place.
It is.
The hotel was not good that you were at, right?
No, the hotel was terrible, the last hotel. I mean, but to me, when I go to a convention, I don't really care about the hotel because it's just a place to sleep. So it doesn't matter. This, though, is at a ski resort.
I'm putting him in a closet for the rest of the year.
It's fine. I asked Tom. I've slept on the floor. Tom's in a bed and I sleep on the floor. Like when we had 3 people, me, you, and Eric. Remember when I slept on the floor and I didn't care?
That's because you crashed our room. Don't make it sound like I made you sleep on the floor.
They didn't have rollaway beds at this place. I would have taken a rollaway bed, but they didn't have one. So I slept on the floor. But no, to me, it doesn't matter. I mean, the things that I like about it is that it's at a ski resort. So there's going to be all these things to do. Like I'm planning to go on the alpine slides, and I want to go zip lining, and I want to ride a horseback, and I want to do other things other than just gaming, which will be a lot of fun. I'm worried that a lot of people who normally go aren't going to go because there's no other hotels around the area. So if you didn't get a room at the hotel there's no hotels within 20 minutes, I've heard, or 30 minutes, or some ridiculous distance to it. So the stragglers, I don't think, are going to come. But I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll see how attendance is this year. I'm looking forward to doing the fun things at the place, and I know people have complained about the food because since it's at a resort, at ski resort, the food prices are higher than you can't go to your local, dollar store to buy food because there is no dollar store within a half an hour away. But I don't mind because, I'm going to go to the nice steakhouse and have nice steaks and do things. So I don't mind. But it's very interesting. A lot of people don't like it, but I think it's going to be cool. I wish it would have been at a place that had things around it, but I don't mind because I think it's going to be a lot of fun and I'm going to have a blast there.
I have a few games, and Dice Tower Cruise is me and my friend's first board game convention. How many games should I bring? How many will be there? Well, how many will be there, we don't know yet, but we do know that we will have at least part of the Dice Tower library from the Dice Tower Convention library will be there.
Yes, a good amount. I mean, we're figuring out because there's cargo charges to bring all the shelving in the games, but hopefully at least 6 shelves worth of games.
If nothing else, I'll have some in my suitcase. Jace wants some in his suitcase. Sam will have some in his suitcase. Everyone's going to bring them. Other people will bring some. Cool stuff is going to be there. They'll probably bring some games.
Yeah.
There will be enough games. Let's say every attendee brought 1 game. That would still be enough.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We just stick them all in a pile somewhere and just play from those games.
No, since we're talking about Dice Tower Cruise, we just have to say we have, I think, 35 seats left.
Looking it up
34
right now.
seats left.
Let's
We're looking
look.
it up right now.
That's seats, but
So rooms.
You mean by rooms?
Yeah, we're looking it up right now, how many rooms we have left.
35.
35 rooms left. And
out of 201.
Yeah, out of 201, we added an extra room in there. It was supposed to be 200, but someone needed a handicap room, so we added one onto our block.
I'm excited. There's over 330 people coming so far. I'm pretty pumped about that.
More than that if you include like your kids in 3rd and 4th rooms. No, it's going to be phenomenal. We still have a few rooms left. We want to hopefully sell them quicker rather than later because if not, like we've told people, we're on the hook for those rooms if they don't sell out. We gambled on you guys, and so far it's been a great reception to it, and we're very happy. We're very happy that we could do this, and just make an amazing time for people, and buy them now, sell it out, because then we can start making plans for a future cruise, knowing that this one sold out.
All right, let's see here. Impressions on a level 7 expansion. Sam has that one, so you'll be hearing from him about that one. What are your favorite video game turned board game? Not very many, really.
Video game turned board game. Most of them are terrible.
Doom was fine.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, the problem is, like, the video game board games are usually really terrible.
And board games turned to video games, do you mean electronic board game? That's kind of a confusing question. However, we'll do this. Jason, who do you think will win the Copa America?
Realistically, I think it's going to be Argentina. Lionel Messi is on fire as usual, and I think that Argentina is going to win. I don't think the U.S. is going to advance. If they beat Costa Rica, the U.S. will advance, but I don't think that they're good enough to beat Costa Rica, and Colombia is going to crush us. James is going to probably score like 2 or 3 goals against us because the U.S. team isn't very good right now. I'm hoping that we could beat Costa Rica and actually make it to the bracket round, but I don't think so. But yeah, I think Argentina and I think, I'm not sure if they're in the same bracket or how they'll end up, but I'm thinking it's going to be Argentina versus Chile in the final. I think Colombia is going to get beat by one of the two, but those are my 3 favorite teams, or teams that I think are the favorites to win it. How about you, Tom?
Is France in it?
It's South America and North America only. Say Brazil.
USA.
USA is terrible. And by the way, Brazil, Neymar, I wish he was playing. I would have given them a better shot, but their star player is
Canada
out.
In it?
No, Canada didn't qualify. The teams from North America that are in are Mexico, USA, Costa Rica, Jamaica, Haiti.
Is Cuba in it?
And Panama.
Is Cuba in it?
Cuba's not in it.
I don't know anything about this. All right. Here's a question someone asked here. They said, when can we expect a review of Clockwork Wars from Eagle Griffin Games? It was successfully kickstarted late 2014 and hasn't received the recognition it deserves. A couple things there. First of all, we just never got a copy of it. That's why we didn't review it. However, the recognitions it deserves. I'm sorry, but no game deserves recognition, ever. No game deserves that. It has to earn it. It has to be a really good game. When these games come out, if they're really good, people will talk about them. You know, if a game is an amazing game, people will champion it. They will talk to others. Now, if a few people like it, but not many, or the game's really expensive, but I don't know that any game like this is an amazing game. Why aren't more people playing it? Well, maybe it's not as amazing as you think. I don't know anything about Clockwork Wars. I've seen it. I've heard mixed things on it, so I don't know. I'm just telling you that if everyone is not falling in love with the game, maybe the game's not that spectacular.
Yeah. Now, of course, if a game is hard to get because they're in their 5th print run, like Chain Magnate, then it is that spectacular. That was my shameless plug again, if everyone didn't realize it.
Is there a market for more content creators, blogs or podcasts? I'd like to get involved, but wondering if a niche is necessary or if the field is already close to full. The field's never going to be completely full. If you come on and do it differently and or better than other people, there's a niche for you. But you come on and do the same thing other people are doing, and it's going to be difficult to come in and be involved. I'm always interested in having more people reviewing games and talking about games, and I love that. I encourage that. We try to get people to do reviews on our channel and get new people involved all the time. But not everyone can do it. Not everyone is willing to go out there and just put out consistently good content. You also have to be excited, and you have to have a bit of a talent for talking and getting people to like you. Or consistently sneak into another channel's videos, just keep showing up. That's another way to get in.
It seemed to work for me, I think.
Could a CCG like Overpower ever be considered for Dice Tower Essentials or any IP licensed game? We just answered your question there. I'm not interested in dealing with IP, and I'll tell you why. When you work with a game, you have to work with that designer.
Yes.
You run stuff by that designer and all that jazz. When you work with IP, you run stuff by the designer, and you have to run it by the people who own the intellectual property. And you have to run everything by them. I mean everything. Some of the companies that we're getting promo cards for, they're like, all right, hang on. We'll give these to you, but first we have to run them by this company. And sometimes you have to run them by its parent company.
Yes.
And then there's the percentage you pay for the IP. So it can be worth it. I mean, Fantasy Flight, I think, Christian Peterson lives in a house of money.
And it's probably all decorated in Star Wars paraphernalia.
Or whatever, but it can work, but IPs bring with them a lot of problems, and I don't really want to get involved with that right now. Hi, Tom. You keep the 3 D&D boxes sitting behind Jason, but are they justify your collection when you love Descent so much more? You're right that I like Descent more, but I look at these games as a completely different kind of game. They're more. I look at Descent as a dungeon crawl. I look at these games as a co-op game.
Yeah, they're more gamey. They're more
of hey, we're working together to do this, while Descent is like dungeon, level up. That's not how those feel. This feels like, hey, are we going to win today or not? You don't go through and then go through another dungeon. There's a small campaign setting in the newest one, but it's just not the same thing. Jason, what do you use to transport your games to game gatherings?
These 2 muscly arms here. That's it.
Ah.
No, when we travel to conventions...
He plays my games. That's what he does. He doesn't bring his own.
A lot of times, yeah, we play the review copies. But when we go to conventions, a carry-on suitcase, I might put 1 or 2 things, but there's usually enough stuff there to play that I don't need to bring them. My game collections, for anyone who comes to my house, you're welcome to play anything in my game collection. Open up shrink wrap stuff, whatever. That's the way I feel. So I don't try to carry too much, but if there's a game that someone wants to play, I'll bring it.
All right. With the Magic the Gathering and D&D RPG crossover, in case you didn't hear about that, they made a Magic the Gathering PDF for Dungeons & Dragons, so you can play in the Magic the Gathering universe for Dungeons & Dragons.
What?
Anyway, if Wizards of the Coast made a Magic the Gathering version of the D&D board games, would you play that game?
Wait, I'm so confused now.
Okay, you know that Wizards of the Coast owns Magic the Gathering and D&D.
Yes.
So they made a module for Dungeons & Dragons set in the Planeswalker Magic the Gathering universe.
Okay, yeah, that's the part, because I haven't played Magic the Gathering since 95, 96, so I know what Planeswalkers are, but I don't really know what they are. But I guess there's a whole role-playing element to Magic now that I didn't know.
I would actually prefer to see it the other way around, where the D&D stuff came into Magic.
Yes.
That'd be pretty cool.
Like a gelatinous cube comes out as one of the cards.
That'd be amazing.
Yes, that would be cooler if they turned D&D into Magic. I agree.
Anyway, he's asking if they made a Magic the Gathering version of the D. Okay, so these games making a Magic the Gathering version of them, I don't know. I like the D&D monsters better than the Magic the Gathering ones.
But Magic, I never thought of it as its own world. I always thought of it as, oh, look, it's a fireball. Oh, look, it's a creature, I always felt like it was trying to be the D&D world, but they just couldn't use the exact D&D names.
Here's a good question. The problem with Dice Tower Cruise is I'm a single person. I don't want to pay for a room for myself.
No, you don't have to worry about that because you could find a roommate. There's people that are other single people. We had a single matchup on the there was a thing where it said if you're single looking for another person on Board Game Geek in our forum that said, match up with other singles to get a room together, and then each of you pay for half the room.
And Jason, if you email him or contact him, he can hook you up in that regard.
Yes, I've been taking care of all that. I have the complete list.
How should people get in touch with you?
Through Geek Mail. I've been doing everything through
Geek Mail.
What's
your BGG
Liar's
ID?
Dice.
So that's one word, Liar's Dice?
Liar's Dice, all one word. You saw it. I started the thread also. You'll see it's on a thread of information.
If people don't know anything about that, so go to BoardGameGeek.com and look up user Liar's Dice and send him a message, and then he'll respond.
We'll get you together with someone else if you want to get in the room. Because we want to make sure we can get everyone there. Obviously, a lot of couples are coming or friends that are going together, but we're going to pair up singles because we want to make sure everyone who wants to experience this gets to, because it's going to be the most amazingly awesome experience ever. And we have a lot of things planned. We're going to start announcing more and more now that we're pretty much sold out. We're going to start announcing things. We have some live events that we're going to do. We have a night before thing we're going to do. We have a whole bunch of stuff we're going to do that I've hinted at, but we're going to give a lot more details as we go.
Oh, that's interesting. Someone said they'd like to see us play Twilight Struggle. Not live. Live would be slow, but record it might be interesting.
Yeah, Twilight Struggle would be fun.
That might be... Yeah, but I'd be afraid to play that one.
Why?
Because it's one of those games I'd make all these moves and I would get so many comments. I cannot believe you played this card at this point in time. You know what I mean?
Nothing
I get a lot
wrong
of
with
this stuff. Yeah, I don't know if I want to deal with that.
I think it would be cool. I mean...
Will we do a live playthrough of Catacombs? That's definitely in the future. That's definitely going to happen at some point.
Oh yeah, Catacombs. Catacombs, because there's so many people in it, that would be good for like one of our live gaming events where we have a whole bunch of people.
Speaking of which, that's not far away. Today is
In
May 2nd.
Yeah,
Well, we are in May.
Oh, that's right.
18 days from now, on the 20th, Rodney Smith, Steve Bonacore are both coming down to get their butts handed to them and as many games as I can beat them in.
So we're playing 5-minute games and about 50 of them because we want to beat Bonacore. Beat Bonacore so bad that he's going to go crying back home to New Jersey.
All right, that escalated quickly. No,
I'm just joking.
It will be a lot of fun, but that's on the lookout for that. So anyhow, that is all the questions we're going to take. It's 2 o'clock. Jason actually has to go to work. I have to go to work because I have more reviews to do. So keep a lookout. We have a lot of reviews coming this week. We will hopefully do another talk back, or back talk, I'm sorry, and Board Game Blender coming this week. And so lots of exciting things coming your way. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel.
Jason Levine.
And you've been watching The Dice Tower.
Nah.
You gotta stay in the same key.
No.
Stop.
No.